Welcome back, focused learners. We're jumping right into a true masterclass today. We are going to deconstruct the legendary presentation style of one of the greatest corporate storytellers of our time, Steve Jobs. But look, we're not just going to sit here and talk about presentation theory. No way. We're putting these techniques to the ultimate test. We're taking some of the absolute driest, most technical raw data you can imagine, literally the exact specifications of the original 2006 MacBook, and we're going to see exactly how those dull, lifeless numbers can be transformed into pure, captivating drama. So if you have ever had to present data, pitch a product, or just sell an idea, get ready, because this is going to completely change how you communicate.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're covering the Steve Jobs experience, why you absolutely have to plan an analog first, the 9 elements of greatness, our 2006 MacBook case study, and finally, Aristotle's ancient persuasive plan. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The Steve Jobs experience, the reality distortion field. Let's look at how he turned a totally standard presentation into a literal dopamine rush.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. Look, most business professionals give presentations just to, deliver information. But Steve Jobs, he absolutely did not do that. He took the typical, boring technical pitch and turned it into a highly anticipated theatrical event. He literally designed these keynotes to unleash a rush of dopamine right into the brains of his audience. I mean, people would camp out overnight in freezing temperatures just to get a seat. And why? A huge part of it was his physical presence on stage. You know the look. The mock turtleneck, the jeans, just total command of the space. People often said Jobs had this reality distortion field. He was just this magnetic pitchman who could sell ideas with such flair that he turned casual prospects into rabid evangelists. He treated every single keynote like a classic story, wrapping a regular piece of electronic hardware in this intense dramatic narrative that made you actually crave whatever he was holding in his hand.
The stakes here are incredibly high, because the reality is you could have the absolute greatest idea in the world, but if you can't convince other people to care about it, it simply doesn't matter. You could literally invent a product that cures a disease or write a piece of software that saves millions of hours, but if you fail to present it in a way that sparks imagination, it's totally irrelevant. Your widget itself doesn't inspire people. The story of how your widget improves their lives, that's what actually wins them over.
Section 2. Plan in analog first. Pen, paper, and napkins. To build that kind of compelling story, we have to look at how Jobs actually prepared behind the scenes.
Former Apple CEO John Sculley once said that marketing is really theater. It's exactly like staging a performance. And just like any great movie director, you have to storyboard your plot way before you ever touch a camera, or, in our case, before you ever open up your presentation software. There's this fascinating rule in presentation design called the 90-hour rule. Get this. For a 1-hour presentation with about 30 slides, it can take up to 90 hours to prepare. But here's the secret. Only 1/3 of that time should actually be spent digitally building the slides. The first 2/3? That must be spent in the analog world. We're talking researching, sketching on whiteboards, and scripting it all out on paper. I mean, some of the greatest business ideas in history started on a literal napkin. Think about Southwest Airlines. The founders famously sketched a simple little triangle connecting Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio on a cocktail napkin. That simple analog drawing conveyed a vision so perfectly clear that it disrupted a whole industry.
And when you finally do make that transition from analog to digital, we hit this massive golden rule. No bullet points. And yeah, I know the irony of using a slide deck to tell you this is definitely not lost on me. But in presentation theater, bullets kill. Software programs kind of force you into these rigid templates with titles and endless bulleted lists. Honestly, save those for your grocery run. In a truly engaging explainer, you use visuals to complement the story you're telling, not to serve as some sort of reading test for your audience.
Section 3. 9 elements of greatness. The anatomy of a pitch. So if we aren't using bullet points, what exactly goes into a legendary presentation? Let's break down the 9 elements.
Let's move to and see how this builds across these first 3 elements. First up, you need a Twitter-like headline. Basically, what is the one big idea? When Jobs unveiled the iPhone, his headline was just, "Today, Apple reinvents the phone." Boom. Short, memorable, and well under 140 characters. Second is the passion statement. You have got to exude giddy enthusiasm. Aristotle called it pathos. If you aren't genuinely excited about your product, there's no way your audience will be. And third, limit yourself to 3 key messages. Human short-term memory is really only built to hold 3 or 4 points at a time. Give your audience a clear roadmap of 3 things, and they will follow you anywhere.
Moving right along to elements 4, 5, and 6. Use metaphors and analogies. Jobs famously called a computer a bicycle for our minds. I love that, because it instantly grounds this incredibly complex technical concept into something we all universally understand. 5th, demonstrations. Please, don't just list what your product does, sit down and physically show it, bring it to life right in front of their eyes. And 6th, share the stage with partners. Bringing an industry leader or a famous artist out on stage instantly builds massive credibility.
And rounding out the list, the final 3 elements. 7th is customer evidence. Third-party endorsements and testimonials are absolutely critical. Your sleek, glossy brochure is great and all, but word of mouth is infinitely better. 8th, embed video. Jobs regularly dropped in these short 2 to 3 minute video clips of ads or employee interviews. It perfectly breaks up the pacing and re-grabs everyone's attention. Finally, number 9, props. Look, you've got visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners in every crowd. Handing someone a physical piece of the hardware to actually hold, that appeals directly to the people who learn by touching.
Section 4, the 2006 MacBook case, from raw data to drama. All right, it is time to pivot from the theory to the practice.
We are going to take the raw, highly technical specifications of the original 13-inch 2006 MacBook and apply this exact Jobs framework to them. Just to quickly set the historical stage here, this laptop was announced in May 2006 and released the very next month. It had a solid run until it was discontinued in late 2008. This was actually Apple's first notebook to use a glossy widescreen display, that sunken keyboard design, a polycarbonate and fiberglass casing, and of course the now beloved magnetic MagSafe power connector.
Now, what's really interesting here is how absolutely painfully dry this information is on its own. I mean, look at it. We have a 2.0 gigahertz Intel Core Duo processor, 512 megabytes of RAM, a 60 or 80 gigabyte hard drive, a front-side bus of 667 megahertz. This is exactly what most presenters do. They stand up, they list out the megabytes, and the audience immediately falls asleep. Your challenge as a presenter is figuring out how to make someone actually care about an 80 gigabyte hard drive.
And the way you make them care is by asking yourself one absolutely crucial question. What are you really selling? Because if you just read those specs, you're selling computers. But Jobs didn't sell computers. He sold tools to unleash human potential. Think about it. You aren't selling a 2.0 gigahertz Intel Core Duo processor. You're selling the ability to edit a beautiful family movie in real time without the whole system freezing up on you. You aren't selling an 80 gigabyte hard drive. You are selling a secure digital vault that holds every single photo of your child's first years in one beautiful place. You have to change the narrative from the hardware itself to the human experience.
Section 5, Aristotle's persuasive plan, the climax. To package all of these translated benefits into a presentation that actually closes the deal, Steve Jobs relied on a formula that is literally over 2,000 years old.
This right here is the definitive, screenshot-worthy framework, Aristotle's 5-point persuasive plan. Let's map our dry 2006 MacBook specs directly to this. Step 1. Arouse interest. You start with, what if you could carry your entire digital life in a stunningly designed 1-inch thick notebook? Step 2. Pose a problem. Well, the problem is, most laptops today are slow, they run incredibly hot, and if you trip over the power cord, the whole machine crashes to the floor. Step 3. Offer a solution. Today, we are introducing the new MacBook. Step 4. Describe the specific benefits. It features the MagSafe connector, so if you trip on the cord, it safely detaches without pulling your computer down with it. Plus, its Intel Core Duo processor lets you seamlessly browse the web while rendering video. And finally, Step 5, the call to action. They are available today in black and white. Go out and get one. It is that simple, and it is devastatingly effective.
So the crucial point is this. Presentation mastery, it is not some genetic trait you're born with. It is a learned skill. Steve Jobs worked relentlessly at this. He rehearsed over and over. He storyboarded. He planned in analog. He meticulously mapped his technical features to actual human benefits. So when you look at his ability to just totally captivate a room, I really want you to ask yourself, why not me? Why can't you be the one to transform dry, boring statistics into a mesmerizing narrative that sparks imagination and actually drives action? The tools are right here. Now it's your turn to go out and build your own reality distortion field. Thanks for learning with us, and we'll see you in the next Explainer.